Growing up, I was always into BMX and skateboarding and kind of extreme sports, so naturally when I was like 15, I got my first car. My mom was actually the one that went with me to buy it because all I had was a permit at the time, and I bought a 240, and I was kind of looking into what to do and have fun with it, and I got kind of turned on to drifting stuff. I was like, I really want to do this for fun and see what it's like. Went and got some dumpster tires, and I just slid around in the parking lot. I know it's cliche to say the rest is history, but I was kind of hooked immediately, and we just kind of grew from there. So end game for me is like to always be one of the top 10 drivers in the world. Like that's my goal. That means I can jump in and drive with anybody, anywhere, and know that like I have a chance to beat them. Yeah, just focus on, especially going into the second turn, right?
Yeah.
Once you get the car set, that's when you want to smash the throttle pretty good, then back off. You know what I mean? You want to get quick on the throttle.
Which turn?
The second turn. So
the second
the right-hander.
The right-hander.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you throw it in there, because of the car speed being so low,
yeah,
when you roll into the throttle, you end up having a pretty high forward grip.
I see. And yeah, and I see.
So if you smash on it, you need the extra power down low,
yeah,
because it doesn't really make a ton of power at the bottom versus the top. So just that extra RPM or extra throttle will just get you up in the RPM quicker, yeah, and take away more of a, you know, like a question of how the car is going to react. My first actual competition was a Formula D event, oddly enough. It was a qualifier in Texas in 2005, and I skipped school to go to the event. It was in Texas. I was living in Florida at the time. But a bunch of my friends were going, and they had this 3-car trailer, and they were like, look, for like $700, we can go drive this Formula D event and try to get our Formula D license. So I was like, all right, cool. And I remember like, I did terrible. It wasn't very good, but it did. It kind of, it bit me in a way that I was like, I can do this. We made it there. It wasn't that hard. Like I saved up $1,000 and went to this event, and I'm like, I could do that again and again. So I just kind of snowballed from there. I think I ended up getting like second to last.
For that 60-something you said?
He would have taken 6 for it.
With it like
it has the entire Dynan catalog on it.
Like everything we have?
No, like ported throttle bodies, active or Dynan
so
floor mats.
That would have been the company car.
Oh yeah, the company car for sure.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! He did it!
It's not over yet.
That's the first time he's done it.
Yeah, it is the first time he's done it.
The first 10 years or so of me drifting, I just kind of floated it all and figured it out. I definitely had some people that were like, oh, like, this is not gonna work. Like, I'm glad you're having fun, it's a hobby, but like, you have to get a real job. And I have been in and out of real jobs until 2015, and that's pretty much when I took the step of saying like, a real job is holding me back from being able to do what I want to do and create a career in this, so. That's all right. Are you twirling your shit? Huh? Good luck, dog. I've had a very, very difficult career, as many people do. I always knew I did the best I could, right? So when I failed, I was like, that was the best I could do at that moment. I have to do better, right? But yeah, I mean, in 2015, I blew 6 motors in my car in 8 events. And in 2016, I blew 9 motors in 8 events. So that's 2 in 1 event. Worst event of my life. I swapped a new motor in, we put a V8 in the car, got it running, tuned, set up, tested, go to the track, first run injector fails, blows the motor. And then I borrow Odie Bakshi's car, and I crash the shit out of his car a second lap out. I'm like, this is the worst weekend ever. So that's when I walked into Vaughn's trailer, the guy who owns RTR, and I was like, yo, I'm driving for you next year. I heard you put a second car together. Like, I'm getting in the seat and I'm gonna drive. You know, like, it's one of those things, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is such a terrible, like, analogy and saying, but it's true. It's like, you know, hey, if I'm gonna keep doing this, I have so much time invested in this, and I'm a lifer, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it forever, so it's one of those things where it's like, now I know how to do it better, and I know that, like, how much worse can it get than that? If I made it through that, it's like, whatever. So this is the last car that I campaigned in Formula D before I went into the Mustang. This car was what got me my first win in Formula D at Long Beach, first place. Pretty much knocked out every one of the previous champions that's still in Formula D on my way there with this car. At its last its last year that we drove it, it was 2,550 pounds with me in it, and it had about 850 horsepower of the tires. So the power to weight ratio is pretty much the gnarliest in Formula D. It was by no means the most horsepower, but the power to weight was the craziest. We had to run a 255 tire, so that's why all the weight savings went into play. Everything on the car is just like super flimsy, lightweight. Like the doors come right off the hinges here, and wheels are super light. Everything in the car was as light as possible. We cut everything we could out. The back half of the car is all carbon Kevlar. So from pretty much this point back, about an inch, is all flexible Kevlar. So these are like shock absorbers that are attached to the rear bash bar. And basically what they do is they act like a pillow to soften the blow when you hit the wall. They move about 10 inches. So pretty much what happened was GT Radial tires, they had basically just a street tire compound that wasn't anything crazy. And they were like, hey, we want you to run again next year, like we think we have a chance to win. I'm like, but your tire is like it's inferior. Like it's just not as good as everybody else's tire. So I was like, in order for your tire to be competitive, I need to lose another 200 pounds out of this car, which is gonna cost like 30 grand. I was like, so you guys need to give me an additional 30 grand or I'm not running your tire, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So they gave me the 30 grand, so I made the lightest E46 in history. There's really nothing better out there than just like getting a bunch of your friends together and going and thrashing in your cars. Like it could be in a parking lot that's empty, but if you have 5 or 6 dudes that are really, really good at driving, it's just super fun. Yes, I mean, I drive in Formula D because A, I like driving with the best people in the world, and I do believe that the best people in the world, like 80% of them are in Formula D. So me driving with the best people in the world, I know that I'm going to become a better driver, right? Being competitive, I have that need to do something better than the next person kind of thing. But at the same time, like, I really love drifting. I really enjoy it a lot. And it's always been one of those things where if it didn't work competitively, I would find a way to work for it to work some other way. Like, you know, my old thing was like, oh, if I'm not going to drive Formula D, like, let's go tour the world and go drifting.
Montana.
Dude. I'm gonna call him that right now. He's not gonna get it, but it's gonna be great. It'll be great for the B-roll. Dude. That was it. You got it. First turn. French Montana over here shredding it.